Welcome back, everybody. Of course, the heat is on. Plant pro Xander Caruso from Barton Springs Nursery is here with tips on getting your plants through another boiling, baking hot Texas summer. We just can't get away from them. Xander, good morning.
Morning.
Good morning. All right, let's talk about how natives can help, because we are going to help people with, who've already got plants out there, who've already got pots going. But we want to start with kind of a PSA.
Yeah, so native plants have existed here and evolved here for millions of years. So they're used to this horrible climate that we have. They don't require as much water as something that's non-native. The actual benefit of the flowers, the nutrients they give to their pollinators and what other things are eating them, it helps all the native pollinators and critters that are feeding on them, because that's what they also evolved for and grew up with. So it's a really, really wonderful thing to plant natives, so you don't have to worry about them as much. Now, planting this time of year, doesn't matter what you plant, you're going to be watering a lot, especially in the sun. But I got an array of things that can be in full sun and in part sun, like this little pigeonberry is a really lovely shade plant to have.
It is beautiful.
Makes little red berries. Birds go crazy for them.
Mm-hmm. Well, and I'd really like to point out that I'm still seeing a fair amount of color here. I'm seeing purple, red, yellow. So when I think native plants, you think blue bonnets.
Yeah.
And then you think like scrub.
Yeah. Just pretty much green. But all of these guys are fantastic. They're all native to Texas. I tried to pick out things that are more native to Central Texas because Texas is big.
Sure.
So, you go to East Texas, it's a swamp. Go to West Texas, it's a high elevation desert mountain. So.
Right. Well, can you walk us through what these plants are real quickly?
Yeah, we got a skeleton leaf goldeneye. It's going to primarily bloom in fall, but you can see it's blooming right now, just sporadically.
It's happy.
I believe this is Texas Gold Star. It's a little reseeding annual. We got a verbena here, one of our native little verbenas.
Look at the verbena, y'all. It's got like purple flowers. How fun is that?
Yeah.
I'll try and get it in the camera just a little bit.
The pigeonberry, which I just mentioned. Kind of a superstar in everyone's gardens. You've probably seen these planted around town. This is Salvia gregii. It's semi-evergreen through the winter if we don't have a really horrible winter, and it blooms all year long. And that's the great thing about a lot of Texas natives, is that they bloom almost all year long.
Okay.
Minus even this guy. He's only supposed to bloom in fall, but he's blooming right now. Doesn't care.
Okay. Yeah, the Salvia gregii I've learned from you.
Oh, yes.
Now I know about it. Okay.
I love that plant.
So the truth is, a lot of people already have gardens, right? And now they're starting to swelter just a little bit.
Absolutely.
Let's talk about how we can prep our own gardens. The first step is mulch. What should we do with it?
Mulch, you want to put about an inch layer of mulch around your plants in your garden beds. Mulch helps retain water. It'll feed over time as it breaks down. It'll feed plants, but it more importantly feeds the mycorrhizal fungi and all the microbes in the soil as they start to break it down. And those fungi are super, super beneficial because they break apart nutrients in the soil and give that to the plant that the plant doesn't normally have access to, and in return the plant gives the fungus sugars.
Okay. All right, mulch, a good idea. Liquid seaweed you always are a fan of as well.
Yes. This is, not as well known across, regular gardens. People don't really think to use this. You apply it about once a week or every 2 weeks is kind of the recommended. But it's basically all of the beneficial minerals, all the trace minerals and nutrients that a plant needs, but it's none of its macros. So it's not going to force the plant to push out fresh growth in the hot summer months. What it's actually going to do is bolster the cell walls of the plant and make it more rigid and be able to take that heat better, as well as the cold, so you can use it in summer and winter.
Oh, that's good to know. Seaweed, good for humans. Also good for plants.
Absolutely.
Okay. Decrease fertilizing, though. We don't want to force the flowers to be coming out.
Yes.
I think that's a surprise.
Yeah, so you want to leave them alone in terms of your macronutrients. Like on this bottle, you can see it's a 0.3, and that's the NPK. It's your nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium. When plants push out leafy growth, it's very tender, and so the hot Texas sun and the humidity can just boil and burn new, fresh growth. So you really just want the plant to chill out, give it some liquid seaweed. It's going to keep it nice and healthy through the summer, and then you can fertilize again in the fall when temperatures cool down.
Good to know. All right. Just like walking our dogs in the morning before things start to heat up, that's where you want our watering schedule to be.
Yes. Plants will take up that water, and they won't struggle to take up that water. And when they're nice and turgid and full of water, they're going to resist heat better just by way of taking up water early in the day before it gets super, super, super hot.
Well, and there are some like unnerving statistics about how, like, if you were to water during the hottest part of the day, like, the water doesn't even get there.
Yeah,
it starts evaporating.
It's also the infiltration is, it's not really happening because it's just so hot.
Oh boy. Okay. How about potted plants? You, of course, are a big potted
Yes,
plant
I
fan.
am. Yeah.
What should we do with those potted
So
plants?
just like at home, I've moved all my citrus trees. If they're in the ground, they wouldn't have this problem, but because they're in a pot, that water drains out of the pot. It's evaporating. It's a vessel. It's going to evaporate that water a lot quicker. I've moved all of them against my house into a shady spot. They just can't handle the sun as if they were in the ground. Those root systems are big. They can search for water that's, in pockets underground or, just moisture in the ground. But in a pot, all that water drains out and dries up so much quicker. So you really want to keep your plants during the summer in a nice shady area.
Okay. And then in the last 30 seconds here, don't cut it back. I
Don't
was
cut it
surprised
back.
by that.
Yeah, do not cut back your plants during the summer. Let them go. Cut them back in the fall, the winter, whenever it's recommended for that plant. But summertime, especially here, will send a plant into shock. If you absolutely need to make a cut, please use liquid seaweed. And please water early in the day, like we were saying. That'll keep them from going into shock as much.
Okay. Recipe for success here. We're going to post all this online.
Yeah.
Xander, of course, thank you for your expertise.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. Stop by and shop in person on Bee Caves Road, or you can check out their offerings online. And hey, they've got a new tortoise. BartonSpringsNursery.com. Stay with us.